Hello everyone, I am Devajyoti, and if you are planning to design a really good anonymous communication protocol, I have a really bad news for you. And the bad news is anonymity always comes with a cost. However, towards the end of this presentation, I might be able to show you some future research avenues which might help you reduce the cost. This is a joint work with Sebastian Meiser, Esfandiar Mohammadi, and Aniket Kate. So let's see how anonymous communication networks work. Suppose, suppose let's take an real example. Let's take a real example. There are multiple reports that Zoom misleads its users about a false sense of security and privacy. Suppose Alice is a whistleblower in Zoom, and she wants to reveal company secrets about how Zoom keeps user activity data. Suppose to Bob, who is a journalist, so that Bob can publish it to the world and people know what Zoom is doing. However, she doesn't want anyone on the internet to know her identity, as well as she doesn't want Bob to know her identity. Bob might be getting paid by Zoom. So she wants to hide among all the employees of the company. And here we are protecting the identity of the sender. That's why we are calling it sender anonymity. In this talk, we will mostly focus on sender anonymity. There are many protocols which can provide such properties. One prominent example is Mixnet. Suppose Alice wants to send a message to Bob, but Alice doesn't send the message directly to Bob. Alice onion encrypts the message and route it through nodes 1, 2, and 3. What node 1 does is node 1 waits for a threshold number of messages. Once node 1 receives all the threshold number of messages, node 1 forwards them to node 2. And same is done by node 2. When node 3 receives all the messages, it delivers it to the desired recipients. As long as at least one of the nodes is honest, Mixnet can hide the identity of Alice. However, it comes with latency overhead. Latency overhead in terms of how much time node 1 has to wait for the threshold number of messages. Also, how many hops Alice's messages has to take to reach Bob. Suppose node 1 doesn't want to wait for those many rounds. What the protocol can do, the protocol can add dummy messages. And that will reduce the latency overhead. However, that will introduce bandwidth overhead. Ideally, as protocol designers, we would love a protocol which has low latency overhead, low bandwidth overhead, and good anonymity. So the question is, can we achieve good anonymity without introducing large latency or bandwidth overhead? And the answer is actually no, according to our previous work, which was published before. So good anonymity cannot be achieved with low latency overhead and low bandwidth overhead. I'm going to define each of the terms formally shortly. And this problem actually creates a trilemma. So let's define sender anonymity. So we define sender anonymity using ANOVA framework. It's an indistinguishability based anonymity definition where Eve receives a message and Eve tries to determine who among Alice and Bob actually sent the message. And we don't want the success probability of Eve to be higher than and the failure probability of Eve with some slack delta, where delta is a function in the security parameter eta, and if delta is negligible function, then we are calling it strong anonymity. Now let's define bandwidth overhead and latency overhead. We define time in terms of communication rounds, and latency overhead is the number of rounds a message can stay in the protocol before getting delivered. So for example, S wants to send a message to R, and S sends the message to 4 hops. So in this case, the latency overhead is 4. And suppose the protocol adds 2 dummy messages, those 2 red arrows. In that case, we are defining beta as the dummy message rate, which is number of noise messages per user per round, should be 2/4 because there are 4 rounds and there are 2 noise messages. And we also have another metric to measure noise messages, which is number of noise messages per real message, which is B, and B in this case is 2, assuming there are no other real messages within the system. So with that, what did the previous paper said? The previous paper said that if users are sending messages at the rate of P prime per user per round, it's to achieve strong anonymity against a global passive adversary, you need latency time message rate to be at least half, which is presented by this curve. So any protocol below this curve cannot achieve strong anonymity. Protocols above this curve have some hope of having strong anonymity. When the adversary can compromise C protocol parties, then we need much stricter constraints to achieve strong anonymity. Even if the adversary is compromising the protocol parties passively, which means that the adversary can see the internal states of the protocol parties, but the protocol parties behave exactly as specified by the protocol. Even in that case, we are saying strong anonymity is impossible with constant latency overhead. Additionally, we require this second condition to be true to achieve strong anonymity. I want to specify that this is a necessary condition. This doesn't guarantee that there will be strong anonymity if this condition is satisfied. So this was the graph without compromised protocol parties or compromised nodes. With compromised nodes, the graph shifts to the right. So no strong anonymity with constant latency in the presence of compromised protocol parties. Now, really, is it really impossible to achieve strong anonymity with constant latency overhead when there are compromised nodes? And that doesn't sound right, because there actually exist protocols, for example DCNet, which can provide strong anonymity with constant latency overhead even in the presence of compromised nodes. So what was wrong with the previous work? In the previous work, we did not consider something called user coordination, and especially when the user coordination can be done out of band. So from now onwards, we'll talk about how this user coordination can help anonymous communication protocols, and what will be the necessary constraints for anonymity when the protocols can use user coordination. So let's first see how user coordination works. Suppose Alice wants to send a message to Eve. However, Alice doesn't work alone. Bob and Charlie comes to help Alice. So each one of Alice, Bob, and Charlie sends one packet to Eve, and Eve can retrieve the original message from Alice only after receiving all those packets. And we are calling all those packets as shares of the message M. Don't get confused with secret sharing. Here we are just using the term shares. It is not necessarily secret sharing. And we are assuming that this user coordination can be achieved via pre-setup. For example, many variants of DCNet can actually do that using a pre-setup, and that's why we are counting the cost as 0. But even with that, the bandwidth overhead is still really high. For example, if there are n users, for each message, you need to have all the n users send at least one share to achieve strong anonymity. And that's really high bandwidth overhead. Let me repeat here that when I'm saying user coordination, I'm not talking about a specific technique. Rather, I'm talking about a class of techniques which achieves this kind of property. It can be anything. For example, you can actually use secret sharing, or Bob and Charlie can send encryption of zeros. I'm not talking about any specific single technique. I'm talking about a class of techniques. However, even with this fancy technique, it seems we cannot get away with the bandwidth overhead. So what can we do? Can we do something better? And there we can basically hybrid it with the mixnet technique. So let's look at this example. So Alice, Bob, and Charlie participates in user coordination so that Alice can send a message. So they send their shares to node 1. However, Devo doesn't participate in the user coordination. In the next round, Devo sends his share to node 2. So all those shares are eventually sent to node 3 and to Eve. When Eve receives all those 4 packets, from the 3 packets, Eve can construct the message from Alice, and Devo's message is as it is. And Eve cannot construct the message from Alice unless she receives all the 3 packets from Alice, Bob, and Charlie. And we assume this user coordination happens between Alice, Bob, and Charlie through some pre-setup. In this case, if node 2 is not compromised, Devo can also achieve anonymity. However, if node 2 is also compromised, in that case, Alice, Bob, and Charlie can achieve anonymity among them, but Devo can be singled out. So let me first state some assumptions that we make on user coordination before we go into the results. So first assumption is that if Alice, Bob, and Charlie are participating in user coordination and Alice actually wants to send the message, Alice has to send at least one of the shares. It cannot be that only Bob and Charlie send shares and Eve can reconstruct the message of Alice from the shares of Bob and Charlie. So one of the packets is sent by the actual sender. So that is our first assumption. Our second assumption is that in this example, you can see that Bob's packet is used to reconstruct the message from Alice, which is going to Eve 1. And also the same Bob's packet is used to reconstruct the message from Charlie, which is going to Eve 2. And we are saying that is not allowed. So one packet does not take part in the reconstruction of 2 separate messages. That is our assumption 2. Our next assumption, it's not really about user coordination, it's about protocols. We are saying, suppose node 2 is malicious. So node 2 can always map between its input packets and output packets. So you cannot achieve mixing on node 2 if node 2 is malicious. So assumption 3 is that mixing is not possible at a compromised node. So with that, what results do we get? Or rather, new results do we get? It seems to achieve strong anonymity against global passive adversary, we still have the same universal necessary constraint as our previous result. So intuitively, you can see that if all the protocol parties are honest, you can just have a trusted third party, and the trusted third party can mix all the messages. So in that case, user coordination doesn't really help. So the universal necessary constraint still holds, except when L equals to 0. What happens when L equals to 0? The messages are directly delivered to the recipient. And with a really high bandwidth overhead, for example, if all the users are sending shares for a single message, you can still achieve anonymity, which was not possible with our previous results. So is there no hope? However, actually user coordination can help when the protocol parties are compromised. The adversary can compromise some of the nodes. In that case, we can see that user coordination can actually help achieving better anonymity. So if strong anonymity, for example, if strong anonymity is not required, user coordination could actually allow better anonymity. For example, if you don't want to differentiate between negligible and non-negligible, you want to see the actual value of anonymity. In that case, user coordination definitely helps. Besides that, user coordination can help against compromisation. For example, this is the curve without any compromisation. This is the curve when there is compromisation and there is no user coordination. With user coordination, the curve can shift slightly left. However, it will still not merge with the universal necessary constraint. Now we shall see some special cases where user coordination can help uh, anonymous communication protocols. First case, where number of compromised parties is a constant fraction of total number of protocol nodes. In that case, the impossibility condition for anonymity without user coordination is L in order of log eta. However, with user coordination, it becomes L squared in order of log eta. That means the protocols with user coordination have better scope of achieving strong anonymity. Another case, in case of any trust systems where only a constant number of honest nodes are there, or only one honest node is there, and latency times bandwidth overhead is 1, and number of compromised parties is greater than L but less than L squared, it is impossible to achieve strong anonymity for protocols without user coordination. However, protocols with user coordination escapes that impossibility and can have some hope. So what are the takeaways from this? The first takeaway is that our work points protocol designer to focus on protocols with user coordination to at least achieve better resistance against compromisation. However, still we cannot do better than the limit specified by the universal necessary constraint, which is the green curve on the diagram on the picture. Unless, and where I am going to give you hope, unless we break one of the assumptions on user coordination. However, the next thing that I'm going to say, they are open problems, they are not yet solved, and if those can be solved, then we might achieve better anonymity. The first hope that I'm going to give you is that if we can achieve mixing at a dishonest node. For example, if there is a program which obfuscates the way the messages are mixed to the node itself, then the node doesn't have any idea about the mapping between input and output packets. In that case, the protocol can perform better, and the both curves where the necessary constraint without compromised user and the necessary constraint with compromised user can be merged. However, strong anonymity is still impossible without satisfying the universal necessary constraint. And what is another thing that is possible if we can actually come up with better user coordination technique. For example, as I mentioned, if we can break our assumption to here, Bob's packet is actually getting used to reconstruct several messages. If we can use that kind of technique or come up with a cryptographic construction that can provide that kind of technique, we can actually break the universal necessary constraint. Please visit this link to read more about our project. Thanks for listening. And at the bottom right corner is my contact details. You can email me or tweet me. Thank you for your patience.